new rules on ABC Bias, the Glasshouse would like to make the following apology. Our beloved Prime Minister is not a liar, a cheat or a weasel and has never brown-nosed George W. Bush, who is a giant intellect and a master military tactician. The Glasshouse unreservedly apologises for its evil, treasonous bias. And if we're cancelled by management, we completely deserve it. And Kim Beazley is a useless bastard.
Folks, welcome to the Glasshouse, the program that asks the question, when Telstra's T3 share float goes on sale on Monday, do you really think they'll sell all 3 shares? More news than communist bananas and socialist squiggles this week. As democracy gets more and more popular in Iraq, John Howard says pulling Aussie troops out prematurely would cause chaos and carnage. And that would be really confusing because it'd get mixed up with all the chaos and carnage caused by not pulling out. Come on, the only way you get more chaos and carnage in Iraq is you send in Anna Nicole Smith. North Korea tested a nuclear weapon? Or did they? Analysts who know about this stuff are questioning whether the bomb worked properly, or even if it was a nuke in the first place. Maybe there wasn't an explosion at all. After building up a huge static electricity charge for 20 years, maybe it was just Kim Jong-il's polyester leisure suits spontaneously combusting. Letting everyone think you have weapons of mass destruction, even though you haven't, really worked for Saddam, didn't it? It doesn't make sense. If you had a nuke, why would you blow it up? We have the bomb! And now we don't. But there must have been some kind of explosion, if photographs of Kim's hair are anything to go by. In Kenya, a government minister has proposed changing the legal definition of youth to anyone aged from 15 to 50. So Gary Glitter could be caught having sex with the youth, and the youth could be Michael Jackson. Youth Affairs Minister Mohammed Kuti is trying to get himself more power by turning everyone into kids. Not so much a military coup as a coochie coup. In the US, George W. Bush reckons the best way to stop school shootings is more classroom focus on character and values. His favourite characters are Donald Duck and Captain America. And his favourite value is 4. 4. I love 4. 4. Because he's stupid. Congrats!
News from the barricades, Great Wheel of China. Eh? In Saudi Arabia, the government wants to build a 900-kilometre, $700 million barrier to seal off its border with Iraq. It's being constructed by the Ministry of Defence. It has large sand barriers, 2 barbed wire fences, a pyramid of wire in the middle, underground motion sensors and a sign that says beware of the dog. It's based on the exercise yard at Guantanamo. And even if you get through all of that, you can't come in if you're wearing sandals or thongs, and the bouncer always picks the hot chicks. The Saudis won't admit it, but it's very similar to Israel's barrier in Palestine. In fact, the Arabs want to put up one to guard against the Israelis too, the famous rabbi-proof fence.
I'm angry because last week Google bought YouTube. I didn't even know it was for sale. I had a spare $2 billion lying around and I was pretty happy to get everyone's dodgy videos. You know, there'll be old people at home going, why? Who's Google and why did he buy a tube? Why did he spend $2 million? Why do they do this? Why do these companies have these stupid names and then get rich buying bloody air. That's what did. It's nothing. What is it? YouTube hasn't even made any money yet. It's worth $2 billion, hasn't earned a cent, and people downloaded the videos. What is it? Is it Paris Hilton? Ridiculous, I say. I mean, what the hell? And Google, buddy, you know what? Every time you type something to Google now, bloody, you type dog in, you'll get a bloody dog weeing in a toilet on YouTube. It's crap. The most downloaded thing is the guy dancing for 6 minutes. Come to mine, John, I'll do it for free. It's rubbish. And the two blokes it's been going 1 year and they've got $2 billion. $1 billion each! That makes me angry. I did a computer course back in 1989. I quit after 6 weeks. I said to everyone, there's no money in this. Who knew? I didn't know. Who knew?
All right, let's get to it. Joining me, Corinne and Dave, to throw some stones in the Glasshouse tonight from This Sporting Life on Triple J, Australia's greatest commentator, HG Nelson! The Taekwondo champion who tells our favourite stories, Lauren Bird! All right, movers and shakers. First up, Cuba, where a surprising number of people live to be 100 years old. And according to a new study, the centenarians attribute it to going easy on alcohol, but indulging in coffee, cigars and sex. You know what this means? If Bill Clinton likes a cappuccino, he could live forever. Most of the Cubans say there's nothing better than a post-coital cigar, a post-cigar latte and a post-latte bonk. Followed, of course, by a post-coital cigar. But the old folks don't really like coffee. They just need it to keep them awake for the rooting. Lauren, you're disgustingly healthy. Would you recommend the coffee, cigars and sex plan?
Well, I don't know. It sounds pretty good. I mean, I've spent quite a bit of my competitive time doing some pretty strict dieting. And at one point, I was going out with this guy and he was always wanting to have pizza and beer every night. What should we get? I'm like, oh, how about some steamed broccoli and some, a little bit. Yeah. And he's like, pizza and beer, pizza and beer, pizza and beer. And I was at this point where I was just not winning tournaments, but I was so obsessive. And the more that I sort of didn't do so well, the more obsessive I became. And he's like, you just got to have pizza and beer, pizza and beer, pizza and beer. And then, I relented, had the pizza and beer, and then went and won the US Open. So I think that there is a bit of a thing. No, but the point is just to loosen up a little bit. Like, you can just get so sort of hardcore on this one thing. And, hey, coffee, sex and cigars, that sounds like a pretty good
beer
lifestyle.
helps people fight, because you were obviously a fighter.
It would have been great if you did that. You had a couple of Bacardi Breezes, called her a bitch, and then you fought. It was just like... It'd be great if you had to have a reason to fight. Yeah. Like, her boyfriend's over there and you just go over and pash him and then you get into it.
You got to hate them, though, don't you? You've got to hate them, yeah.
Oh, no, you don't have to hate them. The thing
While
is...
you're in the ring, you want them dead, let's be honest.
No. Well, the thing is, with martial arts, like, when you're in the ring, the more aggressive you are, then the less likelihood you are of scoring. So, you've got to have that sort of aggression of, like you would with any sport, like with that feeling of adrenaline.
It's the same in a nightclub. The more aggressive you are, less chance you've got of scoring.
But we're overlooking the whole heady Caribbean lifestyle here. I mean, most people in Cuba have been married by the time they're 13 and they're divorced by the time they're 17 and they marry again when they're 18, divorced when they're 19, and it goes on and on like this throughout their whole lives. There's something to do with them, obviously what's in the water and those swivelling hips, the tight pants, that music that we hear so much about. It's just incredible. It's a really fun place. And it doesn't surprise me where to see somebody like Fidel Castro have a heart attack, emerge for a root, collapse back for a heart attack, and then a cigar. I mean, it's that sort of thing.
And he's back in charge in his 80s.
He's back in charge. That's exactly right, Dave.
What I love, HG, is we're one day into the new regime of non-ABC bias and you're saying Cuba is a great place.
Well, for so long, people have been down on Cuba. Cuba's great.
Well, they haven't got any money, but they're living a long time, haven't they?
They're absolutely right and enjoying it more. And can I just say now, Cuba's a dump. I refuse to come on the show and be accused and tarred with the bias. Right, Keva's great, Keva's fucked.
Our next mover and shaker is a bloke from Germany by the name of Bernd Dressler, whose nickname is the Romance Terminator. If you don't have the guts or heart to break up with your partner yourself, you can pay Bernd to do it for you. For $35, the Terminator will dump them by phone. For $85, he'll make a personalised home visit. $85? It'd be cheaper to phone Domino's and order your boyfriend a home delivery with get stuffed spelled out in pepperoni. For a bit extra, he'll even do the breakup with poetry. Our love has grown like a swollen blister. So I think you should know I rooted your sister. Dave, you're a big softie. Would you pay someone to break up for you?
Look, I've paid girls to go out with me. No, but seriously, no, we didn't go out. No, I once went out with a girl who I could not break up with. There's no way. I mean, I'd be determined to break up, and then by the end of the talk, we'd be getting married. You know, it's
Wow. So you were too scared to.
No, I would try to do it, and then she'd talk me around, or you know, and then oh yeah, no, you're right. We should stay together. I'm not miserable at all, and you really love me.
I guess he saves you the hassle. If you're the type of person that can't deal with the breakup, or you know you're going to be clinging onto his leg and all that, that's just not going to happen. So it saves you the hassle if you're a bad dumpy.
It's very hard to break up nicely.
Well, nobody would want to break up with you, though, would they? Just be like, I think we should see other people. Don't hit me. Don't hit me.
No, the best breakup story I've ever heard. A girlfriend of mine was dating this guy, and she decided to break up with him. And they'd only been dating, like it wasn't a full-on relationship. So it didn't take much. She just sort of sat him down. She said, look, it's not working out very well. He turned around and he said to her, oh, that's fine. I can understand why. It's because I'm too good to be true. At least he's got a healthy self-confidence.
I didn't know that anyone you knew dated Leighton Hewitt.
I did have a time when I was sort of seeing a few girls and I'd started doing full-time radio, and I found the easiest way to break up with a girl was to
do it on air?
Yeah, but not just talk about meeting another girl on air. So,
Do you remember this?
I remember this period of time when we were in the makeup room and you were talking about how you were dating this girl, and then you started talking about another girl you were dating, and a few of us had to go, Hughesy, you can't date 3 or 4 girls at once.
It gets very expensive with the text messages, I can say that.
Text messages? What, you didn't even fork out flowers or anything for any of them?
No, I mean, when you were with 3 of them at once. Not that I was very often. I had a lot of catching up to do. I was very lonely for a lot of years, all right? So, no, but I mean, I was never officially going out with any of those girls. So, I mean, if you're not officially going out with them... If you haven't had the talk about going out, you're in...
Who were they? Just spill it now. Who
no,
were
I
they?
can't.
Yeah, come on, Dave.
You can have my
You're on national television.
I've still got
unbiased.
I've still got their numbers in my... I've still got their numbers in my mobile. I will officially get rid of that phone on my wedding day, all right? So, it can be embarrassing when you ring the wrong number. I rang a number recently and she said, oh, I haven't heard from you from a long time. I'm going, yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? And she said, well, I've got a child now. And I said, oh, that's good. Just recently, yeah. I had no idea who I was talking to. It is, I mean, Will, you'd still have a phone. You were like a Casanova for many years.
I love how you've just gone, I'm in a big hole. Maybe I can pull Will into it. You've just gone, I'm Brant. I need a Todd.
Yeah, but he did. Will went out with everyone, you know? Before you're beautiful...
I'm a victim of friendly fire.
Whenever I see him at the airport, he's always buying a box of cigars. I've never put the 2 and 2 together before now.
Our favourite mover and shaker this week is English goalkeeper Paul Robinson, who produced this bit of brilliance in a match against Croatia recently. Paul didn't didn't know what to do next, so he did what comes naturally. He faked an injury. He then went home to punch the wall and missed. HG, you have enormous respect for the Poms. Got any advice for Paul?
Oh, look, I know how embarrassing it is to have an accident happen like that when you think... As you know, I've been connected through Roy Slavin with the great rooting king, that marvellous entire, and I use that word advisedly, and the king would often go off in the mounting enclosure, and we always used to have to go with a pair of, you know, with a tweezers or something like that, or a set of pliers, cold spoon, that sort of stuff. Or when it got really bad, we used to have to strap it down to one of his legs with a bit of gaffer tape. And you know, one of the great races, and I won't name the race because it's still seared on my mind as an embarrassment, he ran round with the fifth leg. And he came, sadly...
Winged keel. Call it a winged keel.
The winged keel. Sadly, he got caught up in a dalliance halfway round. And so, you know, obviously didn't salute and we were devastated. Obviously, we thought he would set him for a big one. Might have been the Melbourne Cup now that it comes back to mind. And, you know, I'll never forget that. I just didn't know where to look.
I don't know how we turn that round to a horse having sex with another horse.
Don't be afraid of it. It happens all the time.
Talk to a real sports person, Lauren. Have you had any embarrassing moments in your career as a kung fu expert?
Not really.
Sure she does taekwondo.
Yeah. You know.
You would have been good at kung fu as well, Lauren.
I had a headband.
So there must be something in your career, though, that you've done that was embarrassing.
What about the time you got kicked in the wadge?
You got kicked in a popular Channel 10 comedy program.
You ever said that word before?
Yeah, I was going to say.
I've never heard the wadge before.
I love calling it the wadge.
Really?
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was, yeah, that was actually a Cuban I was fighting in.
And the Cubans are notorious wadge whackers.
What part of the foot did she get you with?
I think, no, it was actually a shin, so it was...
shin?
Yeah.
There's no give.
No, that is a hard part of the leg, the shin. I mean, I haven't got a wadge, but if I had a wadge, I wouldn't want a shin in my wadge.
The word so correctly picked up there was hard.
But then she did it...
If anyone has just tuned in and just heard you go, oh, I haven't got a wadge, but I wouldn't want a shin in my wadge. You're like, is this SBS? No idea what language you speak.
Oh, I've taken that word and I'm going to run with it, all right? It's a great word.
It's much better than vagina, because vagina's
rude.
awful. No.
Yeah, wadge sounds like fun.
It is a fun word, though, isn't it? If someone said, show us your wadge, you go, no, OK.
It's like trout, isn't it? Trout. Man.
Oh, no, if someone said, show us your trout, I'd
I travel a lot on public transport and people are always pestering me for a look at my trout. It just goes without saying. Oh. You get on the 380 bus to Bondi, you're hardly putting it away for the whole trip.
Later in the Glasshouse, Tony Abbott sets a new world record for earwigs.
How he can boast about 1 million of these things escapes me.
We asked Ron Boswell if he'd have sex with all of the 7 dwarfs.
No, not happy.
And that bloke who runs Telstra admits he doesn't find the T3 share offer very exciting.
I personally didn't get wet.
In a completely unbiased ABC special event on Wednesday, November 29, we'll be presenting the 2006 Glasshouse Awards for Excellence. And we want you to vote for them. We're announcing a different award every week, so get into it and enjoy some democracy while you still can. Tonight, outstanding excellence in the field of religion. And the nominees are The jealous nun in Sicily who set fire to a priest lover's house after finding him in bed with a married woman. Pope Benedict, who did so much for global harmony by quoting a medieval emperor who said the Prophet Muhammad's teachings were evil and inhuman. The American Christian group, which thinks hello is a satanic word and wants it replaced with heaven-o. And the Buddhist monk in Cambodia, who was defrocked for running through the streets naked after a heavy night drinking rice wine laced with toads. You can vote two ways on the website at abc.net.au/glasshouse or by SMS on 1974 7747. Just put A, B, C or D. So get voting. One lucky viewer will get to turkey slap Kyle Sandilands. Time for another in our very irregular series of Create a Segment for the Glasshouse competition. Tonight we're proud to present... Peter's idea is, damn, shut up about it already. Which story in the news are you sick to death of? Corinne.
Can we leave Bindi Irwin alone? Perhaps? Holy crap.
I mean, yeah.
That poor little kid.
Lovely girl, but she's 8.
Yes. The ABC got the
say.
first interview with her.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's on our show next week.
One thing I noticed in the paper that's quite intriguing is that when anyone dies, it seems to be measured on when Steve Irwin died. So, and I just wonder how long that's going to go for. Is it going to be like he died, 15 years, 300 days, after Steve Irwin? Or are we going to have a look on our, historical timeline and we're going to have before Steve Irwin, after Steve Irwin?
It's actually about time we changed the calendar.
We're in year one. We're in year one. AD or SI or PSI.
Husey?
Look, I'm not going to be popular either, and I'm going to say the drought, Yeah, a bit over it.
You're a bit over it?
Wow.
I mean, it's the long...
I'm sure there's some farmers watching who feel really sorry for you, Husey.
I know, look, I mean...
So all those farmers going out of business and all their cattle and crops and everything dying, you're just a little bit over it.
I mean, they've got a lot of land. Put up some townhouses,
My dad's a farmer and I went home just a couple of weekends ago and I've never... my dad's one of those people who just, is happy no matter what, just always been happy. And I talked to him about the drought and he had this look in his eye that I've never seen. This is really horrible this time.
It's unrelenting, yeah.
It was and although it's that thing that he would cry and that would be good because that would be water he could put on the ground.
No, seriously. No, I'm going to get a lot of letters.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
I normally don't get any, so it'll be a bonus to me.
I just get the vibe that, maybe drought isn't the only thing we should be worrying about here. That there's something that causes drought. It's just not an absence of rain. We're in this together. I mean, Carl Sagan, if you want an apple pie, you need a universe. It looks as though we might be buggering the universe so there's no more apple pies. Think about it.
Well, we mentioned bias. Mine is the ABC bias thing. We get a lot of press from people who, politicians and people who are like, oh, we don't like that show. And I'm like, oh, cool.
We would hang more shit on the ALP if the ALP actually did something.
Well, this is my point. The entire time we've been doing this show, the Liberal Party have been the federal government. The problem is, to all the Liberal people who write in and go, oh, well, you don't attack the Labor Party enough. Well, there's one thing you can do about that. Next election, vote one Kim Beazley. Then you will get the jokes you want. I've got fat jokes coming out of my arse. Ready to go! Vote him in, I open the can, out they come!
You attack the people who make the decisions, don't you?
Don't you think if Mark Latham had won the next election, we would just call this Mental Mark's half hour?
Yes.
Exactly.
Every week it'd be like, what did he do this week? Oh, he bashed a kid, here we go.
And I voted for him, and I've admitted it was like voting for Demir Dockett, I've admitted that.
The thing I liked was Scott came out and said there'll be no more bias on the ABC, and any show that has an opinion on it has to have a warning that says there's going to be an opinion on the show. And the thing I liked is they showed footage of the movie show while they were saying it. Movie show!
That is, it's really...
They're two commies, though.
Oh, yeah.
Her middle name's Mao, you know. Margaret Mao Pomerantz. And it's David Vladimir Stratton. Now, I'm looking forward to the 20th anniversary of Pol Pot coming to power. And, of course, most people are critical of Pol Pot. I'm waiting for the ABC to screen that. Pol Pot, fun lifestyle, you beauty. I don't know, you've got to present it.
They're actually doing a balance show. It's called Pol Pot, Hot or Not. Well, that's the way it is for Wednesday, October the 18th. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, HG.
Delighted.
And let's take a look at tomorrow's headlines. The Courier Mail has try before you buy army plan. Volunteers allowed to shoot one foreigner first. From the LA Times, Angelina Jolie attacks Australia's refugee record. Offers to adopt the next boatload. In the Herald Tribune, North Korea denounces gangster sanctions. Prepared to bust a nuclear cap in our honky ass. And from The Age, ABC programs must be impartial. Liberal and Labor equally Good night!
Hi, I'm Miff Warhurst from My Favourite Album.